Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be how the narcissist calculated wrong again. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So the narcissist, they are always calculating, and they are always thinking that they are smarter than everybody. They're always thinking that they won't be discovered or revealed or exposed. And they're always plotting and planning a few steps ahead of most people. And those people, or that person, was you. Remember, you didn't know that narcissism was prevalent. You didn't know that another person could fake their way through life. Fake that they loved you, fake that they cared about you, fake that they had your best interest at heart. But that's what the narcissist is. They're nothing but a big fake. They're a fraud. They're empty shells. There's nothing to them. There's no substance or core to them. And when they miscalculate, again, what that means is many times they will have the best thing that they've ever had in their life, and that was you, certainly. You are an amazing human being. If no one told you that recently, I'm telling you that right now. Understand that where you have been was very challenging, but where you are, now that you're out of the narcissistic relationship, it's a great thing. And my hope is you've healed or you are healing. But you see, the narcissist took you for granted, and they miscalculated. Not only did they take what you gave them or provided for them and took it for granted and took advantage of it, but they most likely went on to another source of supply, another person, or perhaps people by now. And they will never find anybody that will match you, not even close, because you are here and you are in the community. You are on the planet. You are becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered. And you've been through something that most people don't go through. And you have conquered something that most people can't even wrap their head around. And that is the cycle, the narcissistic abusive cycle. You see, the narcissist miscalculated. They did not think that you would ever see behind the mask. They did not think that you would ever break the trauma bond. They did not think that you would put two and two together and deduce who they were. They did not think that you would ever go no contact. They certainly did not think that you would pick yourself up and put yourself back together. They did not think that you would be able to shed all of those former relationships that didn't serve you, which included relationships with the fly monkeys, the enablers, the people who are surrounding themselves or who the narcissist surrounds themselves with. You see, the narcissist did not think you would make it because they placed you on an island. They placed you in the narcissistic fog. They placed you in a place where you didn't even know where you were and you didn't know that it existed. But this is what the narcissist does over and over and over again. And it's not exclusive to romantic relationships. They do this with their own children. They do it with their coworkers, their spouses, their siblings, people in their neighborhoods, people in hobby groups and organizations, and of course in the workplace. The narcissist wants to isolate people. They want people to become a shell of themselves, just like the narcissist is. They're a shell of humanity. And they don't want anyone, meaning the narcissist, they don't want people believing in themselves. That's why when you were in this relationship, you didn't have a voice. What you were is you were a walking apology. You were an unpaid helper. You were a sounding board. You were the person who was putting out all of the fires that the narcissist was creating. And the narcissist knew this because they had done it before they met you. And they did it with you. And they're doing it again with other people, I can assure you. But what the narcissist miscalculated was you, was your resilience, your strength, your fortitude, your commitment, your dedication, your resolve, and your willingness to stay here on the planet and put yourself back together. You see, the narcissistic relationship is a relationship or the relationship that you need to heal from. It's not just like when these relationships end, you can just go back out and start dating or enter friendships again. It doesn't work that way because you are changed forever. You now see things the way they really are on the planet. You don't see them the way you wanted to see them, meaning the rose-tinted glasses are off, and you have now experienced so much toxicity, including verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, maybe even physical abuse. But now you're out of the relationship and you've healed or you are healing. And maybe perhaps you're still in that cocoon of boundaries where you need to self-isolate, not being isolated by the narcissist, but you are self-isolating because you are preserving your energy. You are preserving your clarity. You're preserving yourself. When you were in that relationship, you were doing everything you possibly could to pump up the fragile ego of the narcissist, to keep on putting band-aids on the cuts that the narcissist was inflicting upon you and upon that relationship. And the longer you stayed in that relationship, the longer the narcissist had to manipulate you and take advantage of you, etc. But again, when that relationship ended, no matter how it ended, you found yourself isolated. You found yourself alone. Nobody came to knock on your door and check in on you. And you did not know what had just happened because you weren't taught Narcissism 101 in school. Then, with your diligence and your perseverance and resilience and commitment and all the adjectives I mentioned previously, you figured out that it was a narcissistic relationship that you were a part of. That's why your whole world was turned upside down. That's why you put your hobbies on hold. That's why your health took a hit. That's why your finances took a major hit. That's why any of your support system that you had built up before you met the narcissist had imploded seemingly overnight, although that's not when it happened. You had to learn the definitions in the glossary and the terms in the narcissistic abusive cycle, such as the smear campaign, triangulation, rage fits, projection, mirroring, the silent treatment, which is deadly. You had to understand what stonewalling was. All of these things you wrapped your head around, and you coupled the definitions in the glossary with your real life experience, and that equals wisdom. This is a wisdom that you cannot get in any university. It's wisdom that you can't get from reading a book. It's wisdom you can't get from watching a video. Now, any and or all those three aforementioned things I shared with you, they will help educate you. They will help certainly have you become more in tune with what's going on the planet. But if you didn't go through the cycle firsthand, you can understand all you want to, but you don't know what it's like to be inside of the mind of a person who was abused day in and day out for weeks, months, years, possibly even decades or a lifetime. Now again, my hope is that nobody goes through the cycle. I really wish that narcissism would be eradicated, but it's not going to happen today, and it certainly won't happen tomorrow. That's why we need to have boundaries. That's why we need to insulate and protect ourselves and stay in that cocoon of boundaries as long as we possibly need to. And when we are ready, we will break free from the cocoon and exit, not a larvae, but exit a beautiful butterfly, a mariposa, if you will. You see, this will transform you. It will change you. You will be lighter. Your health will return. Your finances will return. You will create, develop, and build new relationships in the friendship group, business, neighbors, romantic, whatever you want. But it will be narcissistic free, because the narcissist overplayed their hand. They underestimated you, and they did not calculate properly who you were and what you were made of. This video is a prime illustration of what a person can do when you really focus on yourself and you control what you can control. You drown out the toxicity. You take the lifelong learnings from the past. You apply them to present day. You do not, and I repeat, do not predict the future. And you understand that living in the present moment is where the abundance happens. That's where the doors of abundance will open for you. The doors of possibility will open for you. And the doors of opportunity will be presented all around you. When you were in the narcissistic relationship, the narcissist was keeping you repressed, keeping you trapped. Picture, if you will, a beach ball in a swimming pool, and someone's trying to keep the beach ball underwater. Well, they can only do it for so long until the beach ball explodes and pops up through the water and then rises up. Well, that was you. And yes, that, I believe, is a very perfect analogy or description of the narcissistic relationship in a nutshell. They wanted to keep you repressed and trapped. They did not want you ever getting out from under the narcissistic fog or from out of the water where they were keeping you down and stuck. This is what the narcissist feared. This is what the narcissist didn't want. Because when they had somebody, which was you, placed in that devaluation stage, and you are working for them, and you are not being rewarded whatsoever, you are saying, "Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. May I have another?" I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being comical, but this is what they wanted you to do. When you do that, and then you finally break the chains of the narcissistic abusive relationship and cycle, then you realize that, wow, that was a very challenging relationship to be a part of. It wasn't what I thought it was at all. It was what it was, which was a debilitating, taxing, challenging, almost knock me out for the count relationship, which is why it's the relationship we need to heal from. But the narcissist miscalculated. Again, they always miscalculate. They always overplay their hand. They think they're the smartest person in the room. They think they're the most beautiful or handsome person. They think no one will ever figure them out. They think they can keep on lying their way through life. They don't think that you would ever heal. Now let's talk about healing for a moment. Most people coming out of the narcissistic abusive relationship or cycle, they don't figure out that they're in a narcissistic relationship. You may say, well, how's that? Can you prove that? Well, sure I can. Think about something. Think about before the interwebs or the internet or the smartphone, what, 10, 20, 30 years ago, whenever it came out, these things came out? Well, all we had were books and magazines and encyclopedias and word of mouth. And we had to trust that those books or encyclopedias of words of mouth were accurate. Now, really understand what I'm mentioning to you. If the narcissist was any of those people who wrote the books or encyclopedias or were counseling, they didn't want you to figure it out, did they? No, they didn't. And then lo and behold, what happened? The interwebs came around and the smartphone, etc. And now we are in a much faster age. I call it the age of inaccountability, but that's for a different video. But now we can get wisdom or information, and we can discern with our superpower or our spider senses post-relationship what we believe and what we don't. In other words, we can make our own decisions. Back then, before the internet, we couldn't make our own decisions as well because we only had a limited amount of education or resources. But now you can go on YouTube and you can find any content you want, and you can either believe it or not, but it's up to you. So now I'm talking about narcissism. Think about it. Way back when, you weren't supposed to figure it out, and it was by design that you wouldn't. But now you have access 24/7 to get wisdom, to put a video in, get your cup full, and to understand and compare your story with the video that you're watching, if it resonates with you. Side note, pro tip: if any videos you're watching, if you're not getting value from them, make sure you're getting value. That's what I'll tell you. But now you're understanding that you are the priority, and you come first, second, and third. And I don't say that lightly. I'm saying that now that you're out of the cycle in the relationship, you know what it took to put yourself back together, or you're realizing what it takes to put yourself back together. But the narcissist had an advantage the whole time, and they always thought you would stay stuck and trapped in that loop. But that's not what's happening, because the narcissist overplayed their hand and they miscalculated again. Now, why I'm saying that is, in the beginning, a couple moments ago, I shared with you not everyone figures it out. Well, they don't. Many people still don't have smartphones. Many people don't have access to the internet. Many people don't believe that what they went through is what they think it was. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you ever watch a video and you get out the sheet of paper and you start writing things down, check, 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 check. If anything that people are mentioning to you resonates, example, gaslighting, stonewalling, silent treatment, rage fits, well, then you were in a challenging relationship. And it's up to you to understand these things. It's up to you to realize that, yeah, you need to run for the hills and get out of this relationship or go no contact, etc. But see, the narcissist didn't think you would put yourself back together, because you are probably one, if not the only person that the narcissist was in a relationship with that figured it out. Not everybody figures it out, meaning narcissism. And another thing, not only does not everyone figure it out, but not everyone is strong enough to put themselves back together. But you are, and you're doing it, or you have done it. This is why you are a person in rarefied air. This is why you are a very resilient, courageous, determined, fortified, and strengthened human being. See, the narcissist didn't think you would figure any of this out. They didn't think you would heal. They didn't think you would go no contact, etc. They mistook you, and they took advantage of you and the relationship, but they overplayed their hand, and they miscalculated like they always do, because these people are cocky, they're arrogant, they believe they're entitled, they believe they're better than people. And the truth of the matter is, these people, i.e. the narcissists, have some of the biggest egos of anybody on the planet. When you are out of the relationship, and perhaps you actually experience the dark night of the soul, I went through it, I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but then again, I wouldn't wish the narcissistic relationship on my worst enemy. But when you go through the dark night of the soul, and you realize that you've been tested, and that all your beliefs that you've experienced up to life, up until that point in time when you went through the dark night, you throw them all out the window, because your ego dies. Your sense of entitlement, your sense of thinking the way you were, it goes out the window. You give in to a higher power. And that's when you fall down, collapse, and you just give in. And you say, yes, I am here. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I need to actually believe in a higher power and a higher force, because that's what we do. For those of us who have gone through the dark night of the soul, our ego dies. We are reborn. We are changed forever. And for some of us, I can't say all of us, but for some of us, it was the narcissistic abusive cycle that we had to go through to experience the dark night of the soul. Again, if you went through it, you know what I'm talking about. Some of you have gone through it multiple times. Most of you have never gone through it. And my hope is that none of us ever go through it ever again. But that's what some of us have experienced. You see, the narcissist miscalculated. They didn't think that when they discarded you or ended the relationship that you would ever put yourself back together. and become the phoenix rising through the ashes rising through the fire like a phoenix rising through the ashes. But that's what you've done. And now you see things the way they are. And now the narcissist is really small. They're in your rear view mirror. You've gone no contact, you've blocked them, and they mean nothing to you. Absolutely nothing. You wish them the best, but just stay away from me. Just stay away from me. So the narcissist will continue in their loop of destruction. They will continue in their loop of misery, and they will continue to miscalculate and overplay their hand, because that's their nature. That's what they do. But when they met you, they had the best thing they will ever have in a human being. And they took advantage of that. And they took advantage of you and all of your love, your empathy, and your resources. Then when they discarded you, if they did, again, my heart goes out to you. They didn't think you would heal, but you did. And that's why you are transformed and changed forever for the betterment. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember a few things. 1, the narcissist can't change. 2, they're cocky. 3, they're entitled. 4, they're arrogant. 5, they're envious and jealous. 6, they're almost every negative adjective you could come up with. 7 through 26, which is the rest of the alphabet, I will say this. If you think for a minute that the narcissist doesn't know what they're doing, think again. If you think that they didn't think that you would exist, think again. If you think that they thought you would heal and put yourself back together, think again. The narcissist had never ever met anybody like you, and they never will again, because the narcissist is used to doing whatever they do with people and having those people not heal. But that is not you. You either have healed or you are healing, and you understand that there are many challenging and toxic people out there that don't have your best interest at heart, and at the top of that list certainly is the narcissist. I love you all. God bless you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.